Hi there, Harman. I'm really happy to see that you have signed up for the course and that you've begun writing essays as part of the program. Let's take a look at what you wrote here. It's about schools being more entertaining. Here's what you said. The modern schools have started to focus ever more on entertaining strategies for delivering the lessons, which is not only limited to primary class students now. This shift in focus is due to the revolution of technology. This essay will analyze this evolution in schools and support the arguments with the example of Engineering Institute and the survey of toddlers from Harvard University. All right, I want to change a couple of things. It's fine. But it definitely needs some things to happen. Okay, so first of all, it's not the modern schools, it's modern schools, because when you say the modern schools, it assumes one of two things. Either we know which schools you're talking about, okay, uh, which we don't, okay, or perhaps you've talked about those schools earlier on in your writing, which you haven't, because this is the first sentence of your paragraph. So when you have a plural, schools, okay, unless one of the two things I just mentioned have happened, there should be no the in front of it. So it should be modern schools have started to focus on entertaining strategies. This felt really strange to me. So modern schools have started to focus on entertaining strategies for delivering lessons, which is not only limited to primary class students now. Okay, and then you tell me this. Now, let's talk about where my big problem is. It's this. You're going to analyze the evolution of the schools. Please don't. Why? Because that's not what the essay has asked you to talk about. It says, which do you agree with? That's the only thing that you should be talking about in this sentence. This essay will analyze why more entertainment in schools is necessary in order to move forward in society. Okay, something like that. All right, that would have been okay. But your last sentence, which is often called your thesis sentence, it needs to answer whatever this question or whatever this command is. Okay, really directly, really focused. This is just too vague. It's too general, and you're not answering it. And not only that, but as an examiner, this would be a red flag for me. It would like sound the alarms because it says you're going to talk about the evolution in schools. I don't want to know about the evolution of schools. I want to know if you think schools should be more entertaining or if they should just educate students and leave entertainment out of it. Okay? So it would make me think, maybe Harman is not going to talk about this, but going to instead talk about evolution in schools, which is not what they asked. All right. Entertainment of children in schools should be given importance due to numerous reasons, primarily, it makes schools attractive, thus creating, excitement among pupils to come to school. Okay, why? Can you give me an example? Can you say something more about that? Additionally, teaching through the digital illustrations. Teaching, I don't understand what a digital illustration is. I have no idea what you're talking about, and it shouldn't be the. Additionally, teaching through digital illustrations makes, because your subject is teaching, it easier for students to retain knowledge, again, no the, for a longer time span. For instance, a survey from Harvard University indicates that toddlers, again, know the, for the same reason I've talked about, in smart schools who started to learn through fun activities, easily develop their interest in studies, and happily go to school. Done. Okay, so let's talk about this. I'm not really crazy about the order of your sentences. So this was fine. It makes schools attractive. It creates excitement. This goes right here. This sentence does not belong there. If anywhere, it belongs here. Do you understand why? Because here you're talking about making schools attractive and creating excitement. And then here's where you actually support that. All right, so the support needs to come right after the idea. This is a separate idea, which you didn't support at all, and that's a problem. Whenever you have an idea, you need to support it, okay? You need to give me an explanation, an example, a definition, but something that goes a little deeper into what you're talking about. Because you didn't say anything about retaining information. I want to know more about this. Okay? So you've left this idea unsupported, and that's going to be a problem for your task achievement score. So just to recap, sentence number 1, sentence number 2, sentence number 3, but sentence number 3 needs to be followed with at least one more sentence. Let's keep going. Undoubtedly, educational institutions need to have an enjoyable environment. However, the studies cannot be compromised at any cost. That is why the sources of entertainment at schools are mostly related to subjects of study, development of personality, or motivation that does not distract. That is why the sources of entertainment are mostly related to subjects of study, development of personality, or motivation that does not distract children from the prime reason of existence of schools. All right, this sentence is confusing. Let's keep going. For example, engineering students at the National Institute of Engineers in India are shown movies related to advancement in technology or space, which definitely have some learning content along with the enjoyment. Okay. I'm not sure I understand this paragraph. I'm going to need to reread it. You said that, yes, we need to be enjoyable, but do not compromise the studies. And then this sentence completely confused me. Okay, you're basically saying that the sources of entertainment should not distract students from their learning objectives. That's what you're essentially saying here. Now look at this though. Here you're talking about children, and all of a sudden you're talking about university students. So that was a little strange. All right. We're talking about schools. So maybe this example about engineering, not so great. Maybe you could have talked about students doing their A levels or something. Okay. That would have been better. I didn't like this though, because we're not talking about adults. We're talking about children. So when you kind of break it down the way I just did, you can see that there's really not a lot of content here. Okay. You essentially have 3 ideas in this sentence. So you have education should not be sacrificed for entertainment. Therefore, entertainment needs to be related to the subject. And then you give us an example about movies being shown to students in order to make it entertaining, but also continue to educate. So it's okay. It's all right. But again, you can see that there are some issues here. Okay. All right, let's keep going. To conclude, I firmly believe that the prime purpose of schools is to educate the students where entertaining strategies can be used to keep them engaged and create a fun learning environment. The prediction is that the environment in educational institutions will continue to improve using some entertainment methodologies, while the studies will always remain the priority. Okay, so that's all right. Let's see. Let's see. So let's go back to your introduction, because now that I read your essay, I want to see how well your introduction reflects what you actually wrote in your body paragraphs. And I can see a couple of things happening here. First of all, this sentence needs to go because you weren't talking about the revolution of technology. Okay, great. Here you talk about digital illustrations, but it's not really important. And I didn't even understand what you meant. Like, what does that mean? What do you mean by digital illustration? So you're not really talking about technology that much. In the other paragraph, the only thing you talked about really was movies. So that's not really the revolution of technology. So I would have gotten rid of this sentence for sure. Okay. And then again, there's not really an evolution happening in schools. So I don't feel like your introduction really reflected what you talked about. Okay. Instead, if I had to kind of encapsulate your essay briefly, I would have said that Entertainment is necessary in school. We're finding that it allows students to retain information longer, and it also allows students to be more enthusiastic about school. Okay. However, there should not be more of it. It should merely exist in the classroom. Okay. It should not become the primary focus of education, as education needs to remain at the core. Okay. So that's essentially what you're saying, but it's just about shifting that focus and making it really, really clear that, look, yeah, we need to have entertainment, but don't overdo it. Okay. So if you had been really clear about that, then this all would have made sense. And again, it needs to be shown in your introduction. So for me, this is what I would have said. Modern schools have started to focus more on entertaining strategies for delivering lessons, which is not only limited to primary class students now. While education needs to have elements of entertainment, this entertainment should not be the prime focus. This essay will analyze these perspectives with examples of not the Engineering Institute, I told you why, and a survey of toddlers by Harvard University. That would have been okay. And that certainly would have really kind of encapsulated what this essay is about. All right, Harman? So let's keep going. This is about developing skills through entertaining activities. Let's see what you wrote. Spending time with children from an early age is, we don't say utmost important. What we say is of utmost importance. Okay? So it's a set phrase, of utmost importance, but using it like this is wrong. So spending time with children from an early age is of utmost importance for parents because it develops the distinct abilities in a child. Get rid of the. However, there is always an argument about the best activities that should be considered by parents for their children. This essay will analyze and explain the grounds on which entertaining activities are considered to be more beneficial for children than reading a book, and the argument is supported with a survey, because the WHO has not just done one survey. A survey from WHO, an example from School of Canada. Okay, from a school in Canada. All right, that's fine. Here I was a little happier with this because you essentially gave us your position. You said that entertaining activities are more beneficial for children than reading a book. So let's continue. The activities that engage children physically, let's try it again. The activities that engage children physically are enjoyed more by them and are also believed to enhance their creative side along with cognitive skills. You see how many thes I got rid of? This is due to the fact that getting toddlers involved in interesting games such as solving a puzzle, chasing a ball, or playing a board game requires them to brainstorm ideas to win the situation. A survey from WHO indicates that those adolescents who were engaged by their parents in the mental and physical play, get rid of the, in mental and physical play from their early years have developed exceptional qualities. Therefore, playing with children is substantial for their overall development. Okay, I would have liked maybe something a little more specific about the skills. You talked a little bit about the creative side, you talked about cognitive skills, brainstorm ideas, and then you said exceptional qualities. I would have wanted to hear a little bit more about that. What are those exceptional qualities? What are they gaining? You talked a little bit about it, but not really. So be a little more specific, okay? On the whole, though, I like the paragraph. Whereas creative and cognitive skills are proven to be developed through fun activities, introducing reading to toddlers is important to prepare them for school, although it is a boring task for a young child. Learning through reading for adolescents is disengaging, and the child gets easily distracted by other activities. For example, a school in Canada entirely focusing on reading books for kindergarten students failed to harness their creative ability. Thus, entertaining activities are essential alongside the reading. All right, we're going to talk about this in 1 minute. To conclude, I agree that fun activities are required to be included from, not initial years, from the early years of a child, because it improves their physical and mental abilities. However, reading cannot be completely ignored as it develops a habit which is essential for education. Okay, let's talk about this. I liked a lot of this, but let's talk about changes. This paragraph, for me, needed to go first. So, introduction, then this paragraph, then this paragraph. Why? Because this is your concession paragraph. This is where you're analyzing reading, even though you've already told us that reading is really not so great. Okay, so right after your introduction, this is how you should start. Okay, yeah, I know reading is important, and yeah, okay, it can do these things. However, this is what's really important. Okay, so that's how you organize it, and it makes more sense, and it makes the paragraph that you actually support a lot stronger. Okay, so first change would be paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and then your conclusion. Okay, first change. The second change is you absolutely have to make sure that your conclusion doesn't introduce any new information, and yours did. You said reading cannot be completely ignored as it develops a habit which is essential for education. That is absolutely not what you said in the previous paragraph. You said something totally different. Okay, you said it's important to prepare them for school. And then the rest of it is all about how boring it is, how disengaging it is, how it's distracting, and how it failed to harness their creativity. Okay, so this whole thing about important to prepare them is like a detail in this entire paragraph, and certainly not what the focus of your paragraph was. For you to suddenly then put it here in your conclusion seems a little bizarre. Okay, and I'm going to say something else. I don't really love the fact that you did this. Like, I mean, how can I put this to you? So for me, maybe you could have said that reading, you know what I would have maybe done here? I would have had a topic sentence where I said, reading is essential for children, although it has a number of drawbacks. And then you could say, clearly, children need to be read to because it enhances this. It gives them vocabulary. It allows them to imagine different worlds and different scenarios and improves creativity. However, it is clear from multiple studies that students disengage when they are forced to read. They get easily distracted by other activities. Therefore, while it is an important part, it must be done carefully so that children get the benefits without getting, how can I say this? Without losing interest in reading altogether. Okay, that would have made sense. It's all about putting it under the right kind of umbrella. Do you understand what I mean? So as long as you have this kind of topic sentence that says, look, I'm going to tell you why reading is important, but you have to be careful with it. Okay? If you had done that, then this shift between it being important and then it being disengaging and distracting would have made sense. Okay? But then again, I still really think it's important for it to go as the first body paragraph. All right, so a lot of information here, Harman. I hope all of it makes sense. I know I've said a lot of different things. So let's see you correct these essays. Let's see you apply the things I've suggested in your next set. I'm looking forward to it. So get started and we'll meet back here with your next set. Good luck.